gentlemen, it's 7:30 and we're going to try to stick to our timelines. Welcome to our 67th annual AGM and the first annual general meeting that we're actually holding in branch. And we hope that it all works out very smoothly for you and for us. So I'm going to call the meeting to order officially. We have determined that we have met the quorum of 25 members, so we are legally convened. The main purpose of our annual general meeting is for the board of directors to report out to the members of the credit union, to share financial and operational results, and to have a venue for our members to ask us questions on our financial performance and our focus to serve them. So this year, as we host the AGM in our own building, with a focus on the important business of the credit union, without a guest speaker or door prizes. And from a responsible business perspective, we think this makes good sense. Now, to your registration package that hopefully you picked up when you arrived. The agenda is on yellow. The rules of order are on purple. And if there are no objections, the meeting will be guided by these rules of order. Robert's Rules of Order will also guide us if necessary, and we do have a reference book here for us. And we will be using a sort of a general consent method of taking a vote for routine and non-controversial decisions. And this is no different than what we've done in the past. The minutes of last year's general meeting are on blue paper. And the 2015 audited financial statements are on white paper. We will be taking photographs and videotaping the AGM tonight, and we assume we have your consent. So we're just making that sort of assumption. And we will be using this material in credit union related advertising. So if you do not want your picture used, and you do want to give us your consent to use your image, please let Kelly Thomas or Samantha Bourgeois, Samantha is back there, that you are not giving permission to the credit union to use your image in any of our advertising. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce my colleagues on the Grand Forks Credit Union Board of Directors, and I'll be asking them to stand. Starting off to my right is Rolly Russell, Bill Wilby, Pat Horton, Steve Rosanza, Robert Kendall, Dave Turner. Unable to attend tonight is Director Teresa Durasov, and I may add, she's just probably on her way back from Toronto. Her son James was trying out for the Olympic swim team. And Daniel Drexler was unable to attend, and Daniel is away on a work-related conference at the coast. And my name is Michael Strukoff. I would also like to introduce our Chief Executive Officer, Kelly Thomas, one more time, and our recording secretary for tonight's proceedings and CEO Executive Assistant is Samantha Bourgeois at the back. Samantha? And Samantha is key in helping us organize tonight's meeting. Now, to continue on with the formal agenda, we're at number 3, adoption of the agenda. Members are free to introduce items other than those on the agenda. We ask you to introduce them under the appropriate heading tonight. And if there are no objections about the agenda that's circulated, I don't see any objections, then we will approve it as circulated this evening. We'll move on now to the approval of minutes of the previous meeting, that was last year in April. The minutes of last year's AGM held April 21st have been circulated. They're in your package on blue paper. And if there are no corrections to these minutes, anybody find an error or something they'd like to bring to our attention? Hearing no corrections, we're going to use the consent process, and we're going to adopt the minutes as circulated. Now, business arising from minutes, that's number 5 on our agenda. The board doesn't have any business arising from last year's minutes or the program from last year, but is there anything that the membership would like to bring up about last year's minutes? Great, no questions. All right, we're going to move on then to number 6 in our agenda. This is a joint report from the Board of Directors, and the directors will participate in delivering the report, as well will management. And we're going to start off with Kelly Thomas, and then everybody's completed the report, then we'll open up the floor to questions. So I'll ask Kelly to come to the mic and to start off.
Good evening, everyone. Hi, Ken. The theme for tonight's meeting and our 2015 annual report is Evolving Today for a Better Tomorrow. Our focus in 2015 was largely centered on continuous improvement. We've spent considerable time identifying, rebuilding, and planning a number of strategic initiatives designed to substantially enhance the credit union's brand of what we call values-based banking. Later this spring, we'll be undertaking a survey. We'll be asking all members to complete a survey for us, which is focused on how you, the member, feel that your needs are being met and how we can better serve you in the future. We appreciate your help with this. We would like the more response that we receive from this survey, from the wider base of members, the better we'll be positioned to make improvements across all channels. Tonight, my job is to report out on some areas of our financial performance. Directors will also provide brief reports on director nominations, board development, community and member relations, and our audit committee's activities. On the financial side, we'll get started. First, we're going to take a look at capital adequacy. Capital adequacy can be likened to the credit union savings account. The composition of our capital, or our savings, is primarily retained earnings or cash. Ensuring that we have adequate capital is a fiduciary responsibility of financial institutions. Having our own significant savings account helps to ensure that we are able to effectively manage our risks, continue to invest in ongoing modernization, identify and pursue opportunities to diversify and strengthen the services that are offered to members, and to ultimately grow the business. The slide you're looking at shows the growth in capital over the last 5 years. At the end of 2015, we held almost $14 million in our capital account, and this exceeds the statutory requirement of 8%. Next slide, please. Liquidity. Liquidity is another requirement of credit unions. It represents that percentage of the members' deposits that we can access quickly and easily. Liquidity supports our members' cash needs and supports our loan growth, the investments that we make today and investments that we make in the future. The statutory liquidity requirement is 8%, and as the graph indicates, we have exceeded that amount over the last 5 years. We ended 2015 with over 20% liquidity. So we're well positioned to invest in our present and our future. The next graph is net interest margin, and this is a significant importance. Net interest margin represents the difference between what we pay someone for a deposit and what we charge someone for a loan. It is the primary source of revenue for the credit union. As you can see by this graph, net margin has been declining in recent years, and this is really due to the extremely low interest rate environment that we have here in Canada. And the interest rate has been not only very low, extraordinarily low, it's also been extraordinarily low for a very long period of time. As you can see from the graph, the phenomenon has had the effect of reducing the credit union's income over time by more than $570,000 annually. And as long as this low interest rate environment persists, it's quite likely that we will not return to higher net margins, historical net margins. What this graph tells us is we really operate the business on a lower level of earnings going forward. Next graph, please. Operating expenses. Trends in operating expenses really follow the ebb and flow of the business activity. Generally speaking, our costs to operate go up every year, just like every other business. However, we've taken a very, very close look at this in recent years. We're working very hard to reduce operating expenses, keep them as low as possible in light of reductions in net interest margin. We've been able to keep operating expenses down below historic levels. As you can see, the actual cost to run the business overall is actually diminishing in some respects. Thank you.
Good evening. The credit union is a provincially regulated financial cooperative and is subject to regulatory oversight by the Financial Institutions Commission, also known as FICOM. The Board of Directors is required to take all reasonable steps to ensure the safety, stability, and sustainability of the credit union. In other words, we are responsible to protect your interests. The regulator assesses the board's abilities and performance, ensuring that we have the appropriate board structure and committees in place, possess the appropriate combined skills, knowledge, and experience necessary to effectively govern the organization, have policies and procedures that effectively assess and mitigate potential risk and protect depositors, and transparent and accountable to our members and stakeholders. The board develops, approves, and monitors the credit union's strategic plan and performance. In doing so, we consider our members' values and expectations, internal constraints such as financial and operational capability, external constraints such as competitive and economic conditions, alignment with our credit union risk tolerances, and potential impacts of our strategy on the credit union system. It is also the board's role to review risks on an enterprise-wide basis, as well as the steps taken to monitor and manage those risks. We use both qualitative and quantitative analysis to understand how robust or vulnerable Grand Forks Credit Union is to the variety of factors. On a reoccurring basis, the board enlists the services of an external consultant to complete and deliver a comprehensive assessment of the board's combined and individual director skill set in order to identify our strengths and weaknesses, develop a training and education plan to increase our individual and collective competence, establish a baseline of skills and attributes, and reveal those areas where it may be most advantageous to acquire external expertise. Effective governance of credit unions is an increasingly complex responsibility, and the governance assessment process is just one way that the board ensures they continue to meet the expectations of FICOM, our members, and our employees.
Good evening, it's my turn, and it's going to be my last time I have to stand up here and speak, so you guys listen very carefully. While the board is responsible for setting, approving, and monitoring the credit union's strategic plan and performance, the board is not involved in the day-to-day operations. The board recruits, selects, develops, compensates, and supervises the chief executive officer. The CEO puts together the management group, who in turn assembles the team of employees. Mandatory training and ongoing coursework are typically taking place at the credit union in response to the increasing sophistication of both financial products and services and the nature of risk management. Employees, supervisors, managers, the CEO, and directors are all encouraged to take advantage of further training and skill development opportunities. Last year, credit union employees participated in more than 14 hours of professional development. Your board of directors, both individually and as a group, also engaged in a wide range of skill development annually. In 2015, collectively, directors participated in approximately 900 hours of training and professional development. Governance framework. To meet their responsibilities, the board has a very busy schedule. In 2015, the whole board met 14 times. Directors spent an average of 15 to 20 hours per month in preparation for and attendance at meetings. In addition to regular board meetings, directors also serve on one or more board committees and may occasionally serve on an ad hoc committee. The audit and operational risk, credit and market risk, and conduct review committees are three standing committees required by regulation. The governance and human resources, member and community relations, and executive committees also contribute to effective governance, including planning, policy development, assessment of risks, professional development, board succession planning, and community investment. Annually, the board participates in 2 strategic planning sessions led by an external facilitator. Directors also attend biannual, regional, and provincial credit union meetings, which include information sharing and education and training sessions. In 2015, we convened a total of 41 committee meetings. In recent years, we've experienced an increase of approximately 50% more committee meetings. The increased meeting time is attributed in part to regulated advancements in governance practices and an increased focus on community and member relations.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Bob Kendall, for those that don't know me. MoneyWorks is a jointly owned subsidiary offering full-service financial planning products and advice. It is part of the largest network of credit union-owned wealth management offices in the Boundary, West, and East regions. We are very proud to announce in 2015 our own John McPhee, financial advisor at the Grand Forks branch of MoneyWorks, led the Q Trade group of 600 financial advisors in sales activity. We are very excited to support our members through MoneyWorks, to offer them enhanced wealth management services across the Boundary and Kootenay regions. Next slide, please. Kootenay Risk Services. You got the next slide? There we go. In 2014, we also launched our second subsidiary, Kootenay Risk Services Limited, to provide us with risk management and regulatory compliance support and services. This company is jointly owned with Nelson, East Kootenay, and Columbia Valley credit unions. In 2015, a new shared commercial service was added, which will allow each credit union the opportunity to expand on the current resources available to our small and medium-sized business members. And the next slide, please. In January, Ken Lowe was appointed to the position of Vice President, Commercial Services and Credit at KRS. Ken brings with him 15 years of proven management and leadership skills in the financial services industry, specializing in the areas of corporate finance, commercial and retail banking, and credit risk management as Director of Corporate Finance at the Bank of Montreal. Ken will bring to our organizations and business members a skill set not often found in small to medium-sized credit unions. Ken, would you like to stand? Please recognize Ken. It is through partnerships such as these that we leverage our strengths and the strengths of our partners to help improve the quality and scope of services offered to our members and expand our operational capability and efficiency. As your credit union, we believe very strongly in cooperation, collaboration, and the merits of strong partnerships and a value-based approach to banking. We work to partner with other local agencies, groups, other credit unions and affiliates to achieve more than we could ever accomplish on our own. The next slide, please. That's it? Okay. Based on the credit union's financial performance in 2015, we've distributed financial support and community investments in the following ways. More than $457,000 in cash back to our members for their patronage under our profit sharing program. More than $48,000 for community events, initiatives, and donations. $15,000 in university and college scholarships. $100,000 to the Grand Forks Credit Union Community Endowment Fund, administered by the Phoenix Foundation. And while sharing our profits helps us add value for our members, we believe it is our people that are truly our strength and differentiator. From expertise and experience to attitude and passion, our employees are strongly committed to making a difference in the lives of their fellow members and community. In 2015, our employees contributed hundreds of volunteer hours and raised almost $6,000 for local events and charities, including $3,500 to the Relay for Life, $1,232 to the Angel Tree, $500 to the Boundary Women's Coalition, $300 to Boundary Family and Individual Services, $225 to BC Children's Hospital, and $150 to the Grand Forks Christmas Dinner. Well done, everyone. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Rolly Russell. It's a good comment. We're not a bank, and I'm sure for a lot of people in the community, that distinction is a relatively minor one. In reality, that makes a huge difference to how we do business. We, as your board, are elected and in place essentially to make decisions on your behalf. We make decisions for your best interest, as opposed to directors or a board at a bank, which is making decisions in the best interests of owners of that institution, which live and bank elsewhere. This distinction is why over the last few years, our board and management team and the credit union as a whole has put an enormous amount of energy into developing our strategy around values-based banking. We recognize strategically that a healthy credit union means a healthier community, and a healthier community means a healthier credit union. Now, we're working a lot towards making sure that members recognize these benefits and are willing to recommend and encourage their friends and family and colleagues to bank with us as their financial institution. We really believe that it makes sense to bank with us, and we ought to be your first choice. We have a short video that will help articulate some of our desires here. So let's see if we can make it go.
Some choices matter. I'm guessing that banking is not an important decision for you. At some point, the choice where you bank was probably a default decision made for you. You probably really don't care where you bank. You probably think that all financial institutions are the same, but they are not. Because what they do with your money matters. Banks, like all businesses, channel their profits to their shareholders. And credit unions, they do the same. The only difference is with a credit union, every customer is a shareholder. Every customer. Credit unions are part of your community. They know that local matters. That local is where we live, work, and play. It is the place of our friends and family. It is the place of our homes, our jobs, our communities. Profits from banking weren't meant to be sent up some tall tower to a head office to be ferreted out as select profit sharing and excessive bonuses. These profits need to stay here for everyone to contribute to their creation. So bank somewhere worthy. Bank where someone makes an investment in your community because it matters. Choose to be part of something bigger not just something big. Choose democracy. Choose cooperation. Choose your community. Choose local. Choose us. And this is why some choices matter.
Thank you to the IT team for making that so flawless. We firmly believe that we are and we will continue to be your best option for banking in the Boundary. Most residents of this area, to the envy of a lot of our neighbors and competitors, are our members, and we're thankful for that. However, we want to be your primary service provider, not just one of many. The more business we do together, the more money we can return to you, the better rates we can deliver to you, and the more we can provide the services that you need in this area. If we aren't your primary financial institution, we want to know why. Banking here is not the same as banking in Kelowna or Vancouver, and we want our operation to reflect that. If there's a reason why we have some of your business but not all of your business, we want to hear from you and we want to know why. And if we can fix the why, we will. As always, we are listening to you as our members and our employees and our community to better understand our role in working towards a vibrant and healthy Boundary region. It's because of you that we can do this. We need you to help ensure this organization can fulfill its potential. Thank you for helping us do that, and thank you for coming tonight. Back to Michael.
Thanks, colleagues. Now, the board thanks our management team, the employee team, for the jobs they do, the service they provide, and the commitment they make daily to our members, our communities, and to one another. And we don't say it often enough, but thank you very much. It is very much appreciated. So this concludes our annual report for 2015 from the Board of Directors and Management. And I'll open the floor to questions. So if anybody has a question about what they heard or saw in the reports or something that has come to mind, we would be more than happy to hear your question and answer it if we can. Okay, I'm glad everyone is happy then with what they heard. May I have a motion to receive the joint report for the from the board and the management? I need a mover and a seconder for this. Ken McKinnon moves and Gary Smith seconds. All in favor of accepting the report is heard. Anybody opposed? Carried. Thank you very much. I would like to ask now the chair, and this is item 8 on the agenda. I'd like to ask the chair of the Member and Community Relations Committee, Mr. Bill Wilby, to give his report now.
Thank you. The commitment and credentials required today to be a credit union director have increased substantially. We look for members who are leaders, bringing a range of skills and personal attributes that strongly align with Grand Forks Credit Union's values and vision, and who are representative of the diversity within our communities. We require individuals who are geared towards innovation and efficiency in regards to governance and credit union operations. To help our board best fulfill its governance mandate, we have created a desired candidate profile that provides an overview of general areas of expertise a director ought to possess. The profile includes skill areas such as decision-making, fiduciary responsibility, critical thinking, ability to use the computer to access information and to take online courses. Experience is required in the form of being a proven leader in the community, willing to take on the role of ambassador, a representative, promoter of the Grand Forks Credit Union. Having served on other boards, community organizations, and committees, having an understanding of our fiduciary responsibility, being familiar with legal requirements related to real, perceived, and potential conflicts of interest, and reporting requirements under the Financial Institutions Act, having an understanding of Grand Forks Credit Union and the financial service industries. So The call for nominations went out in January in the local media and by way of in-branch notices as well as on the website. 3 members were nominated for 3 seats, resulting in an election by acclamation. David Turner is one. Terry Woodruff is Terry, who most of you will know as well. David Marshall. Unfortunately, David was unable to attend this evening's meeting due to previous commitments. The board is very pleased with the collective experience and skills of our new directors and appreciates them stepping forward. The Member and Community Relations Committee is interested in hearing from members who may be willing to consider a position on the board. If you or someone you know would like more information, please contact us through the CEO's office. At this time, we would like to take a moment to thank those directors retiring this year. So, Pat Workoff. Stand up, Pat.
That's me.
Pat has served on our board for the last 21 years. And then Teresa Durgosov, who has served on the board for the past 17 years. Unfortunately, as we already discovered, Teresa was unable to attend tonight's meeting prior to commitments. As we had mentioned earlier tonight, assuming the role of a credit union director is a significant responsibility, a commitment of one's time and energy, not just for the director, but also for their families. We would like to take a moment to convey our sincere gratitude to Pat and Teresa and their families for the support and contributions to our organization.
Thanks, Bill, for your report. Okay, moving on the agenda to number 9, and this is a report from the Audit Committee. And Dave Turner, as a member of the Audit and Operational Risk Committee, will be giving the committee's report. Dave?
Thanks, Michael. I'd like to speak to you briefly about the role of the Audit and Operational Risk Committee in the governance of the Grand Forks Credit Union. There are 3 layers of oversight which form a governance framework. The first oversight layer is provided by management. They're on the front line in charge of the day-to-day operations, and they put the necessary controls in place to ensure that the credit union runs successfully. The second layer is provided by the board. We set and monitor policies, ensure a robust risk management framework is in place, and monitor the performance of the credit union. The third layer is the validation from outside sources to give us independent assurance that the organization is in control. In the regulatory world, this framework is called the 3 lines of defense, which come together to support the safety and soundness of the credit union. Part of the 3rd line of defense is the rigorous examination of our year-end financial results. Currently, our external auditor is Grant Thornton. The job of the auditors at Grant Thornton is to report to you, our credit union members, by issuing an independent opinion as to the fair presentation of our annual financial statements. You will hear our auditor's report in a few minutes. The Audit and Operational Risk Committee oversees the scope of the external audit and the auditor's fees. We also take steps to ensure that the auditor is acting independent of management. We gain assurance that the financial information is reliable and fairly presented, and frequently review our accounting policies. We also review the annual financial statements prior to the publication and recommend their approval by the board. At the end of the annual audit cycle, the Audit and Operational Risk Committee evaluates the services provided by the external auditor and recommends to the board the appointment of the external auditor for the upcoming year. The board as a whole then makes its recommendations to you, the member, for your approval. Another key player in the 3rd line of defense is the internal audit. We contract the services of independent internal auditors who help us evaluate the efficiency of operations, the reliability of financial and management reporting, the effectiveness of internal controls, and compliance with laws and regulations. The internal auditors give us reasonable assurance and validation of the safeguarding of assets and members' deposits and the soundness of the credit union. Internal audit is a critical asset to the committee and the credit union. It is crucial that the Audit and Operational Risk Committee understands the story behind the numbers. In order for us to improve the quality of both our internal and external audits, we are committed to continuously strengthening the audit committee. Our committee members attend courses and workshops. We do in-house training and keep abreast of the emerging trends which are relevant to our responsibilities. This continuous improvement helps to ensure the committee has the bench strength for an effective level of financial literacy and oversight. 2015 was a pivotal year for our committee and the board as a whole, as we managed agendas increasingly dominated by must-dos, regulatory compliance matters, and governance mandates, and a competitive environment that is moving faster and is less forgiving than ever.
Thank you, Dave. And I would like to add that we have successfully accomplished all of these things. And as David mentioned in his report, that the auditor, external auditor, will be making his report. So I'd like to now call on our auditor, Rob Collins from the firm Grant Thornton, to present the 2015 audit report.
Thank you, Michael. Good evening. Thank you very much for inviting me here tonight to present 2015 audited financial statements. As mentioned, my name is Rob Collins. I'm a principal with Grant Thornton, your credit union's auditors. What I'd like to do tonight is quickly go through the independent auditor's report and the financial statements, which are included in the package that you received tonight. I believe they start on page 11. Within the annual report, you'll find the independent auditor's report and the summarized statements. The first two paragraphs of this report highlight the fact that this report is associated with our summarized or associated summarized statements are derived from the full set of financial statements where we expressed an unqualified clean opinion. If you're wondering why the full set of statements aren't in your packages, they're 43 pages long. They don't fit on 2 pages. However, if you'd like a full set, there's some at the back that I've seen, and also if they're all gone, so I know it's great reading, especially at night when you're trying to go to sleep. You can pick some up from the credit union. The auditor's report goes on to outline management's responsibilities, which are to prepare the financial statements. Auditors prepare the statements, and our responsibilities, which are to provide an opinion on those statements. The last paragraph, which again states the financial information included in the report is derived from a full set of financial statements, where we provided a clean, unqualified opinion. Moving on to the summarized statement of financial position. Total assets have increased by approximately 7.6 million, and this change is as a result of a combination of cash and cash equivalents decreasing by 2.2 million, and investments and loans both increasing by approximately 4.7 million. These changes are mainly as a result of increase in deposits and net earnings in the current year, which allowed the credit union to loan out more funds and to invest more during the year. There are a few other items that changed when compared to prior years, but the ones that I've mentioned are the largest. Moving on to the liabilities. Total liabilities have increased approximately 6.7 million. The largest increase is within your deposit at 4.8 million. The other main increase was within the short-term borrowing, which increased $2 million, which was done right at the end of the year to help finance some purchase mortgages. Total members' equity has increased approximately 840,000, mainly as a result of your net earnings and other comprehensive income for the year. Any questions on the statement of financial position? Seeing none. And moving on to a statement of earnings and comprehensive income. This statement shows the credit union's income, expense, net earnings for the year. Financial margin is fairly consistent with last year, decreasing approximately $207,000. This change is mainly as a result of higher rate loans maturing during the year and therefore falling off and decreasing the credit union's financial income. Other income is fairly consistent with prior years, as are operating expenses, which have decreased approximately 2.4% as a result of the keen focus of your credit union's management to continue to monitor these costs and to make sure that they are efficiently managed, as Kelly mentioned in his report earlier. A small equity pickup from the credit union subsidiaries, leaving the credit union with income before taxes of $599,000. Deducting current year taxes leaves the credit union with $519,000 in net earnings. Adding other comprehensive income of $320,000 leaves the credit union with approximately $840,000 in total comprehensive income for your year. Any questions on this statement? The next two statements are the summarized statements of changes in members' equity and summarized cash flow statement. As the name suggests, these statements show the changes in members' equity and also the change in the cash flow for the year, and are relatively self-explanatory. I wasn't planning on going over them unless there's any questions on them. The last page is the note to the summarized financial statements, which shows the composition of your loans and your deposit portfolios. That is all I was planning on going over tonight, unless there's any questions. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you very much. It's always really hard to get a compliment out of the auditors. They're so risk averse. But we had a very good year again. The role of the auditor is to test our accounting records to the degree necessary to express an opinion on the accuracy of our financial statement, to assist in the preparation of the credit union's tax returns, and to act as a consultant on technical issues. The audit firm works closely with management all year long and meets with the audit committee of the board on several occasions to report their findings. The Financial Institutions Act requires the appointment of the auditor by members at the annual general meeting. And the board does recommend that we appoint Grant Thornton as our auditors again for 2016. So based on this recommendation, I'm looking for a motion to appoint Grant Thornton for the next fiscal year and authorizing the board to set the remuneration. Yes, your names, please. Carol Lincolns, okay. And I need a seconder. John Mellons. Any questions about this recommendation or this motion? All in favor? Anybody opposed? Carried. Congratulations. So, new business. The board does not have any new business to bring forward at this time, but we also provide an opportunity to the membership tonight to see if they have anything they would like to introduce for our consideration. Okay, we're going to take that as a satisfied membership. Thank you. So we're going to move on to number 14, which is good and welfare. And it has been mentioned earlier this evening that because of us having another very good year, the credit union will be donating another $100,000 to the Grand Forks Credit Union Endowment Fund that is managed by the Phoenix Foundation. And we have a goal and a commitment to build a $1 million permanent legacy fund, generating grants for Grand Forks, Christina Lake, and surrounding boundary area communities. This endowment fund is a way for the Grand Forks Credit Union membership to invest in our community assets. Both the Phoenix Foundation itself, as well as the organizations and groups that contribute to an economically and socially healthy region. Tonight, we're presenting a $100,000 check to the Phoenix Foundation to be deposited in our Grand Forks Credit Union Community Endowment Fund, bringing the total capital value of the credit union's endowment fund to $650,000. Now, the last donation of $28,000, that was the money generated by the investments of this fund, was given to the Rotary Spray Park. So that's where our first significant contribution was made, and we are looking forward to making more contributions to our community from this investment fund. I would like to call on Gary Smith and Diana Carr to the front to accept our check and to say a few words on behalf of the Phoenix Foundation of the Boundary Communities. Gary Smith is the president of the Phoenix Foundation, and Diana is the fund development director. So we'll ask you to pause right there because we want that photo opportunity. The check is coming. There we go.
Wow.
Hello, everyone. I'm Gary Smith, and as Michael mentioned, I'm the president of the Phoenix Foundation of the Boundary Communities. And I just want to express our gratitude once again on behalf of our board for the great partnership that we've had with the Grand Forks Credit Union in doing what we do best, and that is serving our communities. And thank you once again. Thank you.
So we've come to the conclusion of our formal AGM this evening, but before we adjourn, I do have some thank yous I'd like to spread. First of all, again, thank you to Gary Smith and Diana Carr from the Phoenix Foundation for attending this evening and accepting the check. We thank our employees for arranging the premises for us tonight, for tonight's meeting, and we know it'll be a challenge to put everything back for business as usual tomorrow morning, so thank you for that. I'd like to thank Les Johnson for videotaping the event. There he is at the back. Thank you. Appreciate that. I'd like to thank Tony Rutsan for assistance with the sound system. And Tony, where are you hiding? Oh, he hides really well. I'd like to thank the Wooden Spoon Restaurant for the goodies at the back, and for you, the membership, for attending. So this concludes our agenda. And yes. Did I miss something? Thank you. Either I'm not reading well, or I just was too anxious to get to the goodies. And Bill Wilby has pointed out that I missed number 11, which was to accept the auditor's report. Otherwise, you'd have had to come back tomorrow. So if we could do a quick turnaround here. We did hear the report from Grant Thornton, and we do need a motion to formally accept the auditor's report. Do I have a mover for that? Thank you. And your name, sir? Richard White. Okay. Any questions before we move to accepting the motion? Last chance to grill the auditor before he makes his escape to Kelowna. You're staying here? All in favor of accepting the report? Carried. Okay. Thank you very much, Bill, for pointing that out. And that brings us to the end of the meeting. Thank you all for coming, and we are adjourned. Please join us for some refreshments at the back. Good night.